Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach. Today, I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here, episode 5771. We got a great week planned for you. It's a Monday here, as you know, and as always, we start with this morning ritual. We want to take some time for self-care. I know that gets put to the back burner. Let's make sure we're doing it. Listen to CoachCast. You're here. You're doing that. Great job. Get organized. However you're doing that. Companion planner, whiteboard, paper and pencil, remarkable device, iPad, whatever you're using. Make sure you get organized, and you do that with your 7 Ps. Obviously, having the right perspective, having the right mindset, and then setting up those priorities based on the mission and the vision. We want to do that every day, and then we just want to get a little better, focus on improved performance, have patience, allow things to work, keep great posture, right? Stay present and persist. That's what's really important. And always be checking that news area because we've got a lot going on with ILD. There's a lot of content coming. There's a lot of things happening. Kari's rocking in the community. You've got any questions or need support, support at morningcoach.com. And then Tracy's rocking on the other side, membership issues, stuff like that, info at morningcoach.com. We've got just a wonderful team. We've got some other stuff happening, obviously, that's important. I'm excited about. But we want to keep this about the CoachCast, so if you get a chance, stop by the community, stop by the website, check out the news area. This week's schedule, we got a big one. We got the power of public speaking. I want to talk about that. It's not that you have to be a public speaker, but I want to talk about how it can really help you as a professional. And then tomorrow, we've got our book study, The Creative Act. Week 4, we're going to end that. I know we did that last year, too, but it's hard to find books on creativity, but that are really good. And I really enjoyed this one. We're going to have some fun talking about sharing the gift. And again, we're talking about public speaking this week, so we'll go over that tomorrow. Wednesday, we've got public speaking tips, authenticity, audience, and ease, and some ideas on how you do it. I want to give you some specific tips. And then I want to talk about content a little bit. I get this a lot. How do I organize my content? So we're going to go over that. Now, we're going to talk power of threes. We do that every once in a while, a little ILD-ish, but it still helps you when you got to do a presentation or you have to maybe even your children, right, or your grandchildren. This is something you can help them with schoolwork. It's a really good process. We'll do that on Thursdays. On Friday, we're going to talk about the power of the platform, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what do speakers charge, a little like behind-the-scenes action there. How much money can you make? We'll go over that. Obviously, Dr. Paula's rocking on Saturdays. We love that. And then Sunday, I got just a kind of a metaphysical one. We're going to talk about the mystery and the power of the number 7. Why are we doing that? It's episode 5777, 5777. So I want to talk about the number 7 a little bit. There's some mysticism behind it. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you listen to Sunday. So it's a new week here at Morning Coach. Excited to dive into public speaking. It's definitely a topic that changed the trajectory of my life. And whether you're presenting to a crowd or speaking on Zoom, we're going to talk about speaking this week with your voice and creating impact. So really excited. So what I want to talk about is speaking. So for me, when I wrote my first book, I thought, I'll go out and start speaking and start to build an audience that way, and then people will pay me to speak. It'll be a great thing. And I was really excited about doing it. I wasn't really confident, but I did know I was okay with it. Like one of the things that I've never really been afraid to be in front of people. I enjoy it. Actually, it's my comfort zone. It's kind of weird. They say that there's this, I don't know, I don't believe this, but they say there's a saying that said people are more scared of public speaking than they are of death. I don't believe that. I think more people wouldn't mind getting up on stage than death, but that's out there. Like that's something that's always been said. I just don't believe that. And I was excited about getting out there. And I remember the Brady Bunch episode where Marsha Brady had to speak, and they said, just remember everybody in their underwear. And it's like burned into my brain. I remember Marsha getting up on stage and looking out and everybody was in their underwear. And I've just never had an issue, but a lot of people do, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. They don't want to be judged. They're worried about getting up in front of people. We're going to help you this week with that, even on Zoom calls, which is becoming, obviously more prevalent, and meetings, having that presence and being able to speak can really help you. Speaking is just not only a tool, but for transformation. It's for connecting with one person, one heart, one soul. And the power isn't the size of the audience. It's the words that you speak with love and clarity. And so I want to go over some ideas. It literally has transformed my life. Speaking has, and I'm doing more of it. I've got a couple big speaking events coming up over the next couple months, and it's not something I'm pursuing. These are just referrals and people talking to me about, hey, can you come speak to this mastermind? Can you come speak to this event? And we'll talk about fees on Friday. We'll get into that a little bit, but there is a lot of power when you have the ability to get in front of a group of people. In fact, my bigger sales, like when we do bigger high-end stuff. So back when we did when we did our big mastermind, which we were charging $45,000, $50,000 per person, right at that point, that sale is done from stage. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we'll talk about it this week. And I like to bring you into the back of what we're doing because I just like full transparency and authenticity. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, why that is so important. But as we get into our due month, we are in our due month, just as a reminder there, public speaking gets really powerful. And, there's some secrets to it. Like when you do it, you become there's confidence and credibility, right? When you're in front of a room, people assume that you're the expert. It's just powerful. And I have to tell you, since COVID, obviously it's been almost, I can't believe it's 4.5 years, right? Time is flying. But since when COVID started, the world changed and events kind of shut down. Now they're booming. Big concerts are happening. Events are going on. Masterminds. People are getting together. There's this rebirth. We knew it was going to come, right? I knew it was going to come. People cannot stay together, not stay together. But the in-home stuff, the Zooms, yes, we're still doing it, but people are going back to work. They're getting back in the office. Things are really rolling again. So it's a great time to start working on these areas, to start working on your voice, to start working on the way that you do it. And look at the things that you're doing. Look at what you're doing in your life and go, okay, where can I get out there more? And that's one of the things I'm screaming at my international inner circle is like, we need to get out more. Like it's time. It's time to start looking for opportunities to get out. I know not everybody wants to do that, but that's where the power is. And specifically for me, getting out and speaking a little bit more really, manifests a lot of really amazing people. Again, you're on the platform. People see you as an expert. There's a old thing called the halo effect that we've taught for years that, once you put that halo on and somebody sees you an expert in one thing, they see you as an expert in multiple things. And that gives you the ability to convey a message and also solve problems. And when you do that, somebody can like you, know you, and trust you. It really, really connects with you. So public speaking really is an important tool. Again, like everything that we do here at MorningCoach, the majority of the things that we teach, right, are things that you can work on. You can get better at. I have a vocal coach and I use once in a while. It's, when I have coaches, I use them for specific things, right? So if I'm playing golf, I'm going to get a coach. When I'm doing more public speaking, I'm going to get a coach. And fortunately, my coach, Matt Kramer, was a singer of Saigon Kick. So the good thing about Matt is not only Matt was a singer and he has his own method and he's actually an international circle. So we're getting ready to get his book coming out and there's some really cool things that Matt's doing, but also he has stage presence. I mean, he was taught by Atlantic on, how to be a lead singer, open for Ozzy Osbourne at Budokan. So when you have that type of connection and you can talk to somebody like that, and we do, Matt doesn't get there every week, but every couple weeks he, shows up to Inner Circle, you can get coaching from amazing people. And that's important because you start to learn as you scale up your skills. You want to learn from others that have been there or have been trained to help you jump the chasms and things. And you're doing it here at MorningCoach. Obviously, when I started my business, I was a professional speaker and I worked my fees up, and we'll talk about this on Friday, up to $40,000 for an hour keynote in the United States and $60,000 in international. So that's what I charge. So I charge $40K, and we'll talk about this Friday. But when you come out of the gates, you obviously don't charge that, right? But you get yourself going. Do I do things pro bono? Yes. If a buddy has a mastermind and says, hey, JB, will you come in? Yes, I'll come in, but I never do anything for free. Again, we'll cover this more on Friday, but I want you to know that I can build a significant business just on speaking. I have friends like Lieutenant Colonel Walter Waldman. We've had him on the show. That's what they do. Like I have a lot of friends that have built amazing businesses. Lynn Rose, who's a speaker singer out of L.A. Richard Goodman. He was a chiropractor for the L.A. Rams, and he's done amazing things. And I just said, obviously, Randy Gage and Lisa Jimenez, and the list goes on and on of professional speakers that I have relationships with that I've met through this wonderful speaking community, right? So it's a totally different business than like what I do now online, though speaking is a part of it. And you don't have to be at that point. My point is why I'm telling you that is I could go build that business now if I wanted to concentrate on speaking. But as you know, you've heard this story, when I started getting into the business and started meeting people, I didn't want to be on the road that much. So I prefer to build systems and tools, and I'm very introverted. So I pick and choose where I go speak, but there's a lot of power in it. I don't want to make this about me, but I want you to understand that public speaking changed my life. I mean, it was the foundational piece of everything. Now, we're getting back to our events. I've mentioned that. Would love to have you come and hang out with us at one of them. We're doing some smaller retreats, International Inner Circles, getting ready to get together in October. And there's a lot of power in that. And when you can learn those skills, like you meet Matt, and Matt says, hey, why don't you do this? That's one of the things we used to do in the old mastermind at the events. We'd have people come up, and me and Matt would work with them on their speaking skills. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of fun things that are very impactful for you. And you may say, well, I'm not going to be a public speaker. I'm never going to go out and make $40K a keynote. But there may be a time when you got to run a Zoom meeting. And when you take tools and ideas like we're going to talk about this week and give you some tips, you find your voice and you're able to be a leader. And you're not, as I always say, go after the CEO or go after the finance guy, because everybody's so bored that you are actually going to sound better than them just by being yourself. But if you're stuck in PowerPoint slides and you're, using a lot of crutches and trying to get through, people are going to notice that. And there's certain things you can do. We're going to talk about this week that you can start to structure your speaking and the way you do things, your content production, that you will be a professional. And that's what Morning Coach is all about. Morning Coach is about giving you a toolbox. You're like, hey, you're just living your life. You're like, this isn't really anything I need. JB's giving me some energy this morning. That's great. But I'm not really into speaking. It's not something I'll ever do. And the next thing you know, your community says, hey, we've got this thing going. Would you mind helping us out with it and telling us a little bit about what you do, right? And so now all of a sudden you come back and you can come back and go, okay, what episode was that? 5771, The Power of Public Speaking. And you can search it in the new site, find it, and listen to this again and get some tips. Or this week, right, that we're going to be talking about this. Or you can ask in the community, which is another place which is great. And Kari will send me a message and we give you some of the tips also there. So it's really about understanding that speaking is something that it's not an everyday thing for most people, but it is a thing that if you do it right, it's a very, very, very powerful way. Whether it's weekly Zoom, Instagram Lives, group presentations, training recordings, there's a lot of speaking going on. Okay. And most of us here at Morning Coach are professionals. At some way, you're going to ask to present or do something. So we want to think about some things. And what I would like you to think about is stories. We've talked a lot about stories, and you've got a current mission. So what I'd like you to think about is you have a current mission that you're working on, right? You got this, hey, I'm going to do this year. Could you do a 3-minute talk based on your current mission? And if you could you practice it aloud, just yourself, and record it? And can you then log it in your second brain as speaking practice or self-expression. And we can do that once in a while, and you can see how far you grow. Especially what would be cool is if you did it today, and then you do it Friday after you've listened to some of the tips that I've given you. Really cool exercise here. Like this would actually be a seminar. This would actually be really good to record. I might do that. Wow, that's good. Record at the beginning before you learn the lessons, and then record at the end, and you'll see how much better you get. So think about this. This is your journal prompt today. What message is burning inside me that I haven't shared with the world yet? What's one thing I feel called to speak about, even if I'm not sure how? We're going to help you with the how, but just think about that. The quote of the day from Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. says, speak clearly. If you speak at all, carve every word before you let it fall. And I love that. And we're going to have Matt. I'm going to talk to Matt about coming on. We're going to talk about the power of words. He's a lyricist. As a writer, that's a big part of what he does. And I know Karen loves words too. A lot of people love words. It's an important part of the process. Speak clearly. If you speak at all, then carve every word before you let it fall. Very important. And our thought of the day is you don't have to be loud to be powerful. You just have to be clear, true, and ready to share your story. And that's really what makes a difference in the world. And that's what I want to help you do. Okay, so a little homework. If you want to just do a quick 3-minute talk, that would be cool. And then on Friday, you could do it again. And you can go over some and just see the differences after you've learned what I've worked with you on. Okay? So let's go do it. Let's have a great Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll crank through our book study. We got a new great book next week. I've been studying it intently. It's about awareness, and we're going to get into that next month. But let's finish out our month with our book and get into the new month. It's crazy. It's almost August, right? It's going to be August by midweek. Let's enjoy it. Let's put some energy out there, and I'll be back with you tomorrow right here on MorningCoach.com. Do a quick 3-minute recording with your phone. Anybody can do it. Just do it, and then let's do one on Friday. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. Let's go have a great day.